Testing, 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 testing. All right, so shalom, shalom. Let me hit that. Let me hit that light because that kitchen light is glaring. Hold up. I was concerned. I ain't gonna lie, I was very concerned because uh, I took upon a very complicated message, and this type of stuff is not my specialty because I'm horrible with history. There are some people that do what I do, and they're very good with history. I'm horrible with history. You have to be like, I had to I had to do a lot of fact checking. And this is one of the reasons why I follow Hebrews to Negroes. Okay? Because he is, I don't know anyone better that can search history. And Paul gives us advice. First, I'm going to start with the O.J. Simpson case, but I just want to say a few things. Paul gives us advice. It's really good advice. Paul says, concern yourself not with the genealogies. Don't get wrapped up into genealogy. Okay? Because why? Because it's extremely complicated. You understand? Okay? So, with Paul saying that, when you use genealogy in the Bible, whenever you use it, okay? Whenever you use genealogy in the Bible, it should not be to take on in its entirety to figure out everybody. It only should be used as precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, to discredit or to credit something in history. That's it. It's not, that's what it's for. Now, before I start with the first topic, I want to say something. I want to say this now because I don't have this written down. See, that's how intense. Not really the Holocaust itself, but just the whole deception, right? Now, I'm not going to be the best that has done this because, like I said, if you all want to get down with the get down, then certainly, you know, you have Hebrews to Negroes, you have Ron Dalton, and you have other people who are certainly more finesse with history and maybe even studying for that point because I never really was good in school either. I never was a good studier. I was horrible at history, and I'm just as bad at studying. So, but I want to say something, right? And I told y'all this, and I'm telling you this right now. Cain is not the son of Adam. I'm telling y'all that right now. I told y'all that. Cain is not Adam's son. He's not. I'm 1,000% sure that Cain is not Adam's son. I know I put my nuts on the line. Cain is not Adam's son. Okay? Now, I'm telling y'all this. All right? He's Eve's son, that heifer. See, the book of Enoch is true. The book of Enoch is real. Cain is not Adam's son. All you got to do is go to Luke chapter 3 and get that genealogy going all the way back to Adam. Cain is not of the lineage of Adam. All right, but I want to start with a fun topic, right? I want to talk about, there's a reason why I want to talk about the O.J. Simpson trial. This might be about 45 minutes, half hour. I'm not going to finish this message tonight. It's going to be a volume 2, okay? I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to try to sound like a professor. I'm not going to try to show off here tonight. None of that stuff. I got a lot of literature here, and I don't even have it where, because it was just so much. Because once you dive into one thing, with these so-called Jewish people, they have told so many lies, right? And it is amazing what they would do, what extremities they would go to get us to believe that they are us. It's crazy. You wouldn't believe the extremities. But guess who knew who they were? Hitler. See, y'all thought that, first of all, Kanye West wasn't the first person that praised Hitler. Okay? And a lot of you thought that he was crazy for praising Hitler. He wasn't the first person that praised Hitler. Neither was I, but I praised Hitler before he did. I might have actually been one of the first people to praise Hitler. Hitler was not as bad of a person as you think he was. I'm telling y'all that right now. Now, I'm not praising him. I don't praise nobody. But so anyway, first, let's go ahead and start with the O.J. Simpson trial. O.J. Simpson did not kill Nicole Simpson. So I know there's a lot of white people out there that's going to get mad at me about this. I'm not trying to take up for O.J. just because he's a black man. I just know he didn't kill her. That's all. So there were a lot of things used against O.J. And I want to talk about the things that were used against O.J. Okay? You got the gloves, of course, everybody knows about. And I got to tell you something. Yeah, Johnnie Cochran was a good lawyer, but Johnnie Cochran was overrated. Now, wait. I'm not trying to throw shade on the brother. Johnnie Cochran was an excellent lawyer. He wasn't the best lawyer in LA. I don't think he was. Okay? But see, the fact of the matter is, OJ just simply didn't do it. And there's no lawyer like Innocence. Innocence is the greatest lawyer. You always remember that. So we know that the glove didn't necessarily fit OJ. We know that, right? Then you also have the Bruno Magli loafers that he wore allegedly. We got the dog allegedly not attacking or behaving rationally. So and I thought it was a good defense by the prosecution. One of their defenses was that it likely was OJ because the dog didn't, allegedly, the dog didn't try to protect Nicole, or the dog didn't alert the neighbors, quote unquote, or whatever. Okay? Whatever. And then you have the car chase. Now, you got OJ driving down the freeway. You got all these cars after him, all these police cars after him. And you decide that you want to film it from a helicopter, got it on the news, all of this stuff. Okay? Now, I want to open up some things. All right? I have experience with this type of shit myself. Now, I tell you all the truth. Right? Cocaine was never my drug of choice. All right? That's on Christ. There's nobody in this city, nobody, that can say that I've ever done cocaine. Now, I'm not knocking nobody. All right? I'm not knocking nobody. Okay? I'm not throwing a boot at nobody. I'm just saying it was never a drug of my choice. My daughter's mom, okay, before she passed, okay, hopefully her soul is at rest. I don't want to say rest in peace anymore because you don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. Okay? I don't believe that the soul gets an opportunity to rest if it's going to be a damned soul. I'm not talking about my daughter's mother. I'm just saying, in general, you should be very careful about rest in peace, right? You don't know how they rested. Just because they were cool with you, don't mean they was cool with Christ. Understand me? But I have experience with a woman with a cocaine habit. Okay? And we know just by seeing that cocaine is not as bad as crack. It's not as bad as crack. It's not as bad as dope. I don't even think it's as bad as pills. Because pills and dope have some similarity. That nasty down high. But my daughter's mom had that habit. She had it pretty bad. So much so that I've been told and even witnessed myself that she was on the track to support her habit. This was years after we had been done. And that cocaine actually led to a crack habit. She eventually start doing hard. And what I'm about to state is a fact. Okay? What I'm about to state is a fact. Okay? It's harder for a woman to shake drugs than it is for a man. A man is the stronger vessel all the way across the board, even though I see some pretty strong women here on social media. Muscles all over the place. But on an average to average, an average man to an average woman, he's the stronger vessel across the board, even mentally, spiritually, mentally, physically, and he's supposed to be stronger financially. So it's hard for anybody to shake a drug habit. But men, we're supposed to be mentally stronger than women. We're supposed to listen. I don't have to have a drink after my delivery. I don't have to. People know I can go a year right now without a glass of wine. People know I can. Okay? I quit cigarettes cold turkey. Took me more than one try, but I quit cigarettes cold turkey. Even when I was smoking weed back in the day, I quit that cold turkey. I've never been so weak to let a drug determine anything about me. I can have a glass. Me having a glass of wine is not a relapse for some of you smart Alex out there. It's not a relapse. I'm a goon. I'm strong. I can shake it. I can cold turkey wine now if I want to. My wife she knows I can do it. Drugs ain't never been nothing for me to shake. Nicole Simpson had a vicious cocaine problem. Okay? How much so? Well, she was $30,000 and counting, or 30,000 plus and counting in debt. See, OJ knew what happened to Nicole Simpson. Okay? Now, inside the courtroom, and I remember this, inside the courtroom, OJ didn't say what the argument was about, but the prosecution used it to bolster their argument, showed OJ was a violent person. So, in other words, OJ raised his voice probably on an occasion around Nicole Simpson. Now, I haven't raised my voice in my household in almost a month now. I'm doing good. To let you all understand that just because a man raises his voice does not make him violent. Not at all. Okay? So, OJ didn't say what him and Nicole were arguing about. You know why he never told the judge, the jury, the prosecution? You know why he never told them what that argument was about? Because the argument was about, bitch, listen, I don't have no more money for your drug habit. Your drug habit, your cocaine habit is vicious, Nicole. $30,000 plus vicious. And I've had it. I'm not supporting it anymore. It's putting me in the poorhouse. There's bills that need to be paid. I don't want nothing else to do with you or your drug habit, Nicole. Nothing. That's why he didn't want to tell what the argument was about, because she was in debt. Oh, but they said if I don't give them the money, if I don't pay them the money, then they won't sell me any more drugs. Oh, yeah, that's true. But Miss Simpson, you didn't understand that it was much worse than that, did you? You got to come up off the men money. You got to come up off their money. They want to get paid. Ain't nobody giving you free drugs, Nicole. These drugs ain't free, Nicole. And you getting fish scale, Nicole. We're giving you scale. This ain't free. In court, it was brought up. It was brought up in court. OJ and Nicole got into an argument. Another argument. They get into many arguments. It was brought up in court that him and Nicole got into an argument at one of his children's schools. One of his children's school. They were there to catch a school musical play. The argument was OJ being pissed that her dealer sent some people to his place of work asking him to pay her tab. He told them F off. Nicole was putting their children in danger, and he was going to seek custody of their children through legal means. Her dealer put the word on the street that no one was to sell to Nicole until he was paid. So Nicole Simpson didn't go to the neighborhood bar for cocaine. She didn't do that. She lived in a place, an area where the people, the mob, now, on a previous message, I said that the mob was the mob ran by the mob that Nicole owed. I said that it was the mob ran by Pablo Escobar. I have reasons to believe that that's false. Pablo and his team had nothing to do with that. There is another mob. They are a Jewish mob. They sell cocaine to Hollywooders, rumors are, I apologize, rumors are that there's an untouchable mob that sells cocaine. Now, they don't sell it, of course, out of neighborhood bars. We know that, right? They don't even distribute to the neighborhood bars. I don't even think that they do business with black drug dealers at all. But they have their own working for them. Now, the guy that Nicole hooked up with, Goldman, was Jewish raised. I'm not 100% sure that he, quote unquote, was Amalek. And when I say Jew, I mean Jewish, not Jew. You should have saw the 2 comments I got in my DM after I posted earlier. What did you all think, that I was going to show sympathy for the Ukrainians? You think that what this message was about? That would be that would be illogical. When my ancestors, us black folks, have been in Holocaust after Holocaust after Holocaust after Holocaust for the past 5,000 years. My people have been in many Holocausts. That picture, and I don't want you all to forget that picture. There was a reason that I posted that picture. It wasn't for sympathy for the Ukrainians. That's foolishness. I wanted you to remember that picture for a reason. Always I do things. Now, Nicole, now this type of stuff never came out in the media. Now the stuff that I'm talking about is a little deeper. So Goldman, Nicole's newfound lover, quote unquote, was Jewish, quote unquote. And he had a drug habit too. All untouchables are not perfect. All of their lives aren't perfect. Some of these untouchables got fucked up lives. Right? They do. They're not all, they don't all have their SHIT together. Just like the FBI caught them cats with the trafficking, right? They thought they was getting away clean, right? FBI caught hold of them, right? So we know they slip up, right? Because they're human at the end of the day. We're all human. Actually, they're not human. I apologize. But that's a whole different story. Not right now. Damn, you're going to say they're not human? Well, first of all, hue, H-U, is color. It has to do with color. So, actually, no European, not even Caucasians, are human. They're mankind. The only people that are human are actually people with color, because hue has to do with color. So everybody's man, but not everybody's human. That's just the truth. I'm not saying that they're not a part of, well, the untouchables are tricky. Very tricky. Okay? Now, I don't have the Pandora's box of genealogy to give you all, okay? It's extremely complicated, right? I don't even think Ron Dalton has it all, to, even though That's the only person who I take heed from when the genealogy gets deep. But I've caught him in some mistakes. He's not perfect, but he's the best that's doing it right now. If you want to know anything about I actually don't advise anybody to get too deep into genealogy. Unless you're making a living doing it, then that's different. But if it's just out of curiosity, you should be careful. There's a lot of loopholes in genealogy. Okay? Because Esau has a natural vessel. Okay? I'll get to that later. But there's a lot of money in Hollywood cocaine business. California cocaine business is insane. Insane. The Jewish people, they have a mob. Okay? Now, to be quite honest with you, I just have to be 100%. I told you all I'm going to take my time with this message. I'm not here to present to you all perfection. Now, I do got to know what I'm talking about. I understand that. And I have to show that I know what I'm talking about. But no one saw the killers. We're not 100% sure it was the Jewish mafia. It could have been those who worked for Escobar, Pablo. It could have been. So we're not 100% sure either way. But OJ didn't do it. Now, there are two deciding factors that completely eliminates OJ as the murderer. Two deciding factors that shuts the door all the way. The door may never be shut all the way, but it's to the point where it's like you can hardly peek through it. I'm about to move on to the next topic soon. The Holocaust. So, I even wrote an essay. I have an essay that I wrote to help me along with this, compiled with just history, scripture. I've learned, I don't want to lose my thought. I know where I'm at. But I've learned really that my life is a wreck. And I need to order it in some type of way. Because my family depends on me very heavily. My mom, my wife, my aunt, all the women, my daughter, all the women in my family, and of course my boys, everybody. Even my mom's cat depends on me. And I just want a lot of you all out there to understand. Those of you all who are doing your thing, whether you be a comedian, a rapper, you have a podcast or whatever or whatnot, do not go to jail for no foolishness. Okay? To a lot of my black people in entertainment, whether it be LA, New York, specifically, I'm speaking to you all here in Philadelphia. Do not go to jail for no foolishness. I do love y'all. Don't go to jail for nothing stupid. Okay? All right? All right? You may be trying to do something for somebody or something like that. And if that person, he or she, is a thoroughbred, you know what I'm saying? They don't want you to get caught up. We all have children. Some of us have wives. Some of you women out there, you have husbands. You women entertainers, you have husbands. Some of you don't. Okay? So anyway, I didn't forget where I was at. So the two deciding factors that really acquits OJ in my book, really, if you have common sense, it should acquit him. Now, first of all, you got to understand something. Goldman and Nicole, they weren't shot. See, if they had been shot, then we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. The difference between using a knife and a gun can be significant. See, what a lot of people don't understand is a knife is a statement. A gun only becomes a statement. And well, I mean, if you shoot somebody, period, you're making a statement. But I'm talking about a statement. I need you to understand what I'm saying. If you want to make a statement with a gun, then you do something like you release 100 rounds or something. That's a statement. Execution style to the head, or a walk down 2-3 to the chest and to the head. That's not really, I mean, I understand that's your statement, but it's not a statement enough. You understand what I'm saying? Because people get killed like that and shot like that every day. But if you put 100 rounds in somebody, well, that's completely different, right? Because we know that 100 rounds is a statement. You understand what I'm saying? So when you use a knife, it's a statement. So Goldman, many people my age, you already know that Goldman was allegedly a self-defense expert. So he's already a grown man. So OJ has to walk up and you know how your wife is, right? For men who are married, like your wife, I think your wife should be a little scared of you. She should be a little bit, but we know if y'all arguing or whatever or whatnot. So Nicole would put up a fight herself alone because this is wife. They always argue. So her being accompanied with a grown man, an adult man, just him being an adult man, now it's possible, but if in rage And I guess if you get the drop on them, yeah. But let's not forget that Goldman knew martial arts. And he knew it pretty well. He wasn't a beginner. If I can recall, Goldman was a self-defense specialist. He was a specialist. Goldman knew how to take you and flip and bounce you and hook you all up and do stuff dirty to you. He knew how to do that. So they were stabbed a lot of times. And Goldman knew how to bang. Now, the second thing is the acquittal. Okay? See, the information got leaked because OJ did not see the dead body. So OJ really couldn't say, hey, Cochran, listen, do you know that both of them niggas was given a Colombian necktie? That's what the drug cartels do when you owe them money. A lot of you know what a Colombian necktie is. And a lot of you don't know. A Colombian necktie is when you slit the throat. You slit the throat. Then you take your hand, you reach up in the throat, and you pull the tongue down out through the neck like a towel. Okay? OJ didn't do that. OJ didn't stop, but what OJ didn't do is he didn't talk. He didn't tell. Why? He was in protective custody. They let him live. OJ could have got it. If they thought that OJ was going to tell, they'd have gave it to him. But OJ stayed solid. He didn't talk. He kept his freedom and his life. Now, if I recall, he's back in jail or something, right? I don't know. But so he got locked up for something. It wasn't for that. A retired prison guard, the guard is retired now, has told the National Enquirer, you can check it for yourself, that OJ told him that the real killers were drug dealers bent on collecting a $30,000 debt owed by cocaine addicted Nicole Simpson. Let's move on. Now, this topic is the second topic. And it's the topic that really took all my time. I'm not going to get this perfect, okay? And when I say not perfect, I don't mean that does not mean I'm going to give misinformation. It just means that when you go into one hole, it opens up another hole, and then that opens up another hole, and then that opens up another hole, and then that opens up. I can't cover everything. You understand that, right? There's some good stuff that I haven't seen, but I got some good stuff too. And it's not just about the Holocaust, but Adolf Hitler, um, let me just get into it. So I want to start off with Amos. Let's go to the book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 7. We're going to go to the book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 7. Christ is talking to us black people. He says, are you not like the Cushites to me, O people of Israel? He's talking to us Negroes, talking to all the 12 tribes of Israel. He asks, he says, are you not like the I'm going to explain who the Cushites are. Give me a minute. Are you not like the Cushites to me? Declares Yahuwah. Did I not bring up Israel from the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Kaphor, and the Syrians from Ker? The Cushites and the Palestinians and the Syrians are descendants of Ham. Now hold on. I need you to understand something. Where does the Bible take place at? The Bible takes place on the continent of Africa. You understand that, right? The Bible, it takes place on the continent of Africa. He said that when he asked us, are we not like unto the Cushites and the Syrians? He's not saying that we are descendants from Ham. I don't want to lose y'all, because this message really is for the people that don't really know. I'll double back on what I know what you're not understanding. I'll get to that. I'll explain that. But let me explain this first. So, Yahuwah, Christ, is saying that we're all from Africa. Okay? So, technically, We are descendants from Africa, but we are not the same people as the Africans. Now, there are some African people that picked a bone with me about my Obama post. It's just the truth. That's all. I don't understand why you people have a problem with the truth. I want to reiterate something to all of you out there who don't like truth. You need to become sterner stuff. Because just because you don't like the truth is not going to change it. That's not going to change it. After you cry a river and shit your pants, when you're done, it's still going to be the truth. So what are you going to do? Cry a river and shit your pants some more? It's not going to change. Jeremiah, I want to go to Jeremiah 31 and 34. I'm going to read till I'm finished. Jeremiah chapter 31, and I'm gonna read verse 34, and I'm gonna read till I'm finished. Give me a minute. I didn't eat all day. I've been studying all day. Trying to cram. I keep telling myself I'm not going to do this again. In order to make a message efficiently, you really have to study piece by piece from one message to the other. That's in order to make an efficient message. Okay. And they shall teach no more every man is that where I want to start at? Jeremiah chapter 31. Okay, no. I'm going to start at 30. I'm going to start at 31. So Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, said Yahuwah. I want to explain now. I know a lot of y'all got that. It's self-explanatory, but he said that their days are coming that he's going to make a new covenant with the house of Israel. And I keep telling people in Christianity, and I'm not going to say anything bad about Christianity, because I'm not a coward. I'm not going to talk down because all religion is false. You can't respect one religion more than you respect another religion. That's cowardice. I put all religions in the same bag. They're all lies. But we're not here to talk about religion. No. Well, we're not here to talk about religion. So he says a new covenant. Now, I try to tell everybody, and there are a lot of Christians that think that we're in a new covenant. We're not. But the Bible says a new covenant. The Bible has that mistranslated. See, that's why I don't mess with the Bible. Because it's always, well, you have to understand something about the word new. That's why I say, don't read the King James Bible without a strong, a Hebrew and Greek Strong's concordance. You need to labor to interpret when you study the King James Bible. This is what true teachers do. They labor to interpret. Okay? They don't submit to a government authority that tells them that they're not allowed to study the Hebrew, like 501c3. Because the Hebrew is misleading, because we're not talking about Yiddish. We're not talking about Yiddish. Yiddish is a Slavic tongue used by the Khazars. So the word new actually means to renovate, to renew, to make again. If you use the Thayer concordance, it goes deeper. Means to be respectful and honorable. That's why in the Old Testament, he said that for his righteousness' sake, when he said that, he was talking about manifesting himself into the flesh. Who is the righteousness of Elohim? It's Christ. That's why he said for his righteousness' sake that he would make the law of Moses honorable. So it says that, behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers. Now, listen very carefully, because I want to show you all a trick. What was the covenant that he made with our fathers? The 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments is our covenant. Now, we all broke it. We all broke it. See, the foolishness and the trickery, especially with a lot of you in the circumcision, is you think that you're not breaking the covenant. But you don't declare Christ, and yet you try to walk in the perfection of the Torah. And you think that you're not breaking the covenant. So the covenant is the 10 Commandments. So he's trying to say, no, that does not mean that we don't have to follow the 10 Commandments. That's not what that means. Stop misconstruing my words like you all do Paul. I never say that we are not to follow the commandments. But we have to understand that our covenant is the 10 Commandments. So he's going to give us a new covenant. See, we're not in a new covenant right now. We're in a renovated covenant. We're still in the original covenant because we still have to follow the 10 Commandments. The covenant that he's talking about, we're midway. The covenant, I'm going to tell you what he's talking about. Listen, I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to let the scriptures speak. So he says he's going to make a new covenant with us. Not according to the covenant that I made with your fathers in that day. So does that mean not according to the 10 Commandments? No. It means not according to the stone tablets. Not the 10 Commandments that he personally wrote with his finger. We're still obligated to those. But what he's trying to say here is the stone tablets. Now, listen. Because he's going to say, not according to that covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, and we break it to this day. Although I was an husband unto them, saith Yahuwah. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my law in their inward parts and write in their hearts, write on your mind, write in their souls, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. This covenant he's talking about is when we will actually be transformed soul and mind and will know no sin. That's the new covenant. That's the confederacy. The confederacy that black people whom are his chosen, because all of us are not his chosen. Now, I told y'all that. Y'all get mad at me because I'm telling y'all the truth. Some of you, not some of you, a lot of you niggas is wicked and you have judgment in store for you. That's just the truth. But you all get so angry and you cry a river when I say that. But nobody gets more mad or nobody gets more angry than the circumcision. See, I want to tell you your problem, you circumcision. Your problem is you can't admit that you are a filthy rag. No, I'm not no filthy rag. No, I'm not. No. The Bible says you are. You think that you're exempt. The righteous will barely make it in. The righteous barely go to the kingdom. So you slanderers, and spies and gossip. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something right now. For you people that listen to my life day in and day out, you need to, you are low. Okay, I know you want to check with my slander here and there to see what's going on, to make sure I'm not doing anything abominable. Well, that will always be hearsay because there will never be, and you'll never catch anything like that because it doesn't exist. It never existed, it doesn't exist, and it never will exist. So I'm not even sweating that at all. They want to tell you, you know, when I'm going here and when I'm going there and when I'm going there. If y'all like tuning into my fucking life that much, then go ahead, be my guest. But don't forget that you have your own fucking life to live. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. So he said, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with them. So he's going to actually take the law, and you know how the angel, like Michael, the Michael angel, excuse me, the angelic being Michael, y'all know he can't sin, right? Michael cannot sin. Did y'all know that? You know why Michael can't sin? He doesn't know how to. Yeah, he literally doesn't know how to sin. His mind is in confederacy with the Creator's mind. See, sin is outside of Christ. When Christ was down here walking, Christ had all the attributes of the Creator. Why? I wonder why. One of the attributes that Christ had when he was walking was he never sinned. Nobody never, and it was scratching their head. They couldn't get it. Like, you mean to tell me this nigga here, he don't even look at one fat ass that walk? He don't even stare at one ass? We can't catch him breaking no laws. Who does this? That's because Christ wasn't an ordinary man. Christ literally had no functions of sin within him. None. I wonder where he got that attribute from. So we're going to be like the angels mentally. You're not going to be able to think about killing your brother or your sister, murdering, shall I say. You're not going to be able to think about stealing from your brother or your sister. You're not going to have jealous thoughts, cowardly, jealous thoughts. You're not going to have a cowardice, slanderous mentality. Because you automatically know that it's not solid to do something like that. You'll know he's going to put his righteousness within us. It's not going to be, well, thou shalt not kill and thou shalt not. It's not going to be none of that. Yeah, we always will have to follow the commandments. But see, I don't want to focus on the commandments per se. He's going to teach us. When he does this, we're going to automatically be upright in mind. We're not going to need the stone tablets. See, right now we're midway. We're still susceptible to the tablets. But we have an advocate now. I don't want to spend too much time here. I have to move on. Let me go ahead, right? And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. So we won't need teachers anymore. I wonder why. Because we're going to be upright, right? But this is what I want to get to because, like I said, it's another volume anyway. I'm not going to sit here all night, okay? Because I haven't seen my sons yet. I apologize. I came late to the people that wanted to see the message, and not only that, but just spending so much time with the study, it really took this message back. So, but thus saith Yahuwah, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon, and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart, what ordinances? If the moon, the sun, and the stars, if those depart from before me, saith Yahuwah, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me. So, in other words, he's trying to say, us as a nation, he will never cast away us as a people, as a nation. The only people that get cast into outer darkness are people who don't follow the commandments and have not the faith and the trust in Yahushua HaMashiach. We all can't go for the ride. And for those of you that don't go for the ride, you really ain't got nobody to blame but yourself. Now, it's about to get a little interesting. I mean, I even got tabs all up in here. I got tabs everywhere. Oh, okay, that's how that works. Ah, okay, I didn't know that. I can put it over there. All right. So let's move on, right? What was Hitler? Hitler was a Nazi, right? Hitler was a Nazi. Now, for those of you in the circumcision, you don't have to do this. But if you're watching, you can pull out a Bible. And I want you to go to Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10. Okay? Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10. Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah. Now, it's crazy because this shit go all the way back to Adam and Eve. But I don't want to start there right now. Okay? I don't want to start there right now. These are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. So, something happened. Okay, all right. Let me not get into that. Okay. Somebody on that boat had the bloodline of Cain. It had to be. Somebody on that boat was a descendant of Cain. Okay? But that's also, maybe I can throw that into volume 2. But these are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. When the word anti-Semitic is being used, that means that, or let's say it this way: if you call somebody Shemitic, that means they are a descendant from Noah's son, Shem. So I want to make this real easy, because I know many of you in the circumcision, you already know that. That's a blowover to you. And not because of lack of intelligence, but because a lot of people out there, because what I know, when that word anti-Shemitic was being thrown around like that, a lot of people, a lot of women just didn't care. And a lot of men didn't understand. And for the women, and for you women out there that were inquisitive, and for you women that like to think, okay, to be Shemitic, it says here that Noah had 3 sons. Now, this is after the flood, post-flood. I don't want to go pre-flood just yet. Post-flood. So, what I want you to understand is that Noah, many of you know who Noah is. Even if you don't have to be a Bible scholar to know Noah. I know a lot of men out there know Noah, and I know a lot of women out there know that Noah is of the Bible. I know y'all know who Noah is. So I want to talk in prehistoric terms. Not prehistoric, that's not the way. What they say, layman terms. I want to make this very simple. Noah had 3 sons. One of his sons was named Shem, or Sem. I think the H is silent. Is it? I'm not sure. It really says that it's pronunciated shame. That's how it says it's pronunciated, but nobody says Shem. So Noah had 3 sons. Ham was the oldest. Sem or Shem was the middle. And Japhet was the youngest. Right there. I'm not trying to make this complicated. You can't see like that, right? All right, well, it's right at the top of Genesis chapter 10. He had 3 sons. One son by the name of Shem, another son by the name of Ham, and another son by the name of Japhet. Shem, you are a Semite, or you are considered Semitic if you are a descendant from Shem. That's all. That's it. These Jews, these Jewish people that are out here calling Kyrie Irving anti-Shemitic, they are not descendants of Shem. The people that are in the land of Israel, which is your land, black man and black woman. By the way, Jerusalem is named after Yah. See, some people call him Jehovah. Many of you, it's funny how many of you argue about the name. Because the name Jehovah has been around for a long time. But we know it's not Jehovah. Why do we know it's not Jehovah? Because the letter J, is about 1,000 years old, give or take. And we know that Yahuwah's name goes way back. We ain't got to get into we ain't got to pinpoint time. But we know that the Y was replaced by the J. Funny, because the Y is a masculine letter. The J is a feminine letter. So, if you say Yehovah, now the V, I don't want to get too deep, but it's not Yehovah, it's Yahuwah. See, you can't say that that's not his name, because it's all throughout history textbooks, right? And all of these things. I don't like to lose my point, because I know I had a damn good one. This is why I wanted to take my time. So, Jerusalem, thank you. I don't want to miss this point. Jerusalem is what is the capital of Israel? Well, it's not the capital or whatever. It is the capital, right? So Jerusalem, if we know that the J is about a stack old, about 1,000 years old, then we know that if Jerusalem is named after the Creator, how do we know that? You can look for the scripture yourself. Go find it yourself. He says, the place where I put my name on, where I put my name, the place where my name is at. Jerusalem is the place where Yahuwah's name is at. So if you replace the J with a Y, you have Jerusalem. It actually is pronounced, or should be pronounced, Jerusalem. The city Jerusalem should be pronounced Jerusalem. Now, this is not rocket science. You just have to dig it in a little bit. I'm not going to make this hard. Now, let's move forward. So it's going to start with the sons of Japheth. Noah had 3 sons. One of his sons was named, the oldest son was named Ham, which are the Nigerians and Algerians. Not all of them. See, well, let's not get into that right now. But the Africans that clearly have the African features, because there are a lot of beautiful women over there in Africa now. They have slight African features with the high cheekbones, but some of those women, you can go and you can put a beautiful sister from America and you can stand her right next to that African sister and you can't tell the difference. Why? Because we're scattered throughout the 4 corners of the planet, our people. There are tribe of Judah. There are Jews in Africa, in Lagos, Nigeria. Jews. Don't let those dummies with the 12 tribe chart tell you that. Tell you it's not. Jews. They're not of another tribe. They're of Judah. Okay? So it's going to start with his youngest son, Japheth. The sons of Japheth were Gomer and Magog. I want you to remember the name Magog. Gomer and Magog and Madai and Javan and Tubal and Meshach and Tyrus or Tyrus. And then Japheth. So Gomer was Japheth's first son that they mentioned. And now they're going to talk about Gomer's son. So these would now be Japheth's grandson, right? Because Japheth is one of the sons of Noah. See, that's why I don't like genealogy. So I'm not going to make this, I'm not going to get too, I'm just using this to make a very good point here. This is how you're supposed to use genealogy. The sons of Japheth, the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Japheth's the youngest son. The sons of Japheth were Gomer and so forth. And then they're going to talk about Gomer's son. Okay? Which would make Japheth their grandfather, which would make Noah their great-grandfather. You understand? And the sons of Gomer, which are now Japheth's grandsons, Ashkenaz and Rephath and Togarmah. But let's stop there for a minute. One of the sons of Gomer is Ashkenaz. I want you all to Google Nazi. And we know that Nazi, because I don't think it's pronounced Nazi, right? It's pronounced Nazi, right? It's spelled Nazi. The word Nazi comes from Gomer's son, Japhet's grandson, who goes by the name of Ashkenaz. The so-called Jews today are descendants not from Shem, but from Japheth. Noah had 3 sons. In order to be a Shemitic, you have to be of the descendants of Shem. One of the sons was Ham. The oldest was Ham. The middle son was Shem. The youngest son was Japheth. Japheth's great grandson went by the name of Ashkenaz. The word Nazi that Hitler was a part of, and that's tricky too. Hitler knew something that many of you niggas today don't know. But the word Nazi comes from the name Ashkenazi. Many of you have heard of the Ashkenazi so-called, they call themselves Jews, Ashkenazi Jews. The Bible is real. Y'all keep effing around because I keep telling y'all keep trying to play some type of way for society. You want society to think you're cool. You a dummy if you dismiss the Bible and call yourself anything of what you were. You stupid niggas out there that's giving up your birthright. And we're going to get to birthright in a minute. And I'm going to show that many of you niggas are leading to hell. You're going to hell. I'm not telling you that you're going to hell. See, some of you Negroes are doing I'm going to get to that. Some of y'all giving up your birthright. Now, I can't wait to come with volume 2 because this is not going, I'm not going to make this more than 2 hours because I got a life. So, the Ashkenazi Jew, the word Nazi comes from the name Ashkenazi. I'm going to make this easy for y'all. Now, I want to say something. Because there are some tricks going on here. And if you all actually, Ronald Dalton of Hebrews the Negroes, he did figure out one of the tricks. I'll explain that probably on volume 2. But how does this bloodline continue after the flood? Okay, so listen, right? Because I don't want to make this too, I don't want to go too deep into this now. I'm gonna have to find that because it's not coming right up. And I meant to put that in here. Okay, so all right. So let me keep going. All right, let me go back. So now y'all know where the word Nazi comes from. Now, here's the trick. There's a lie going around that I don't know if any of you heard this lie, that the Jewish people, their descendants are maternal and not paternal, It's okay for some of you that don't quite understand what I just said because I didn't know. I mean, I know what maternal means, but I never really worried about the word paternal, which is really just the opposite. So maternal, being a descendant maternally, means to take from the mother. And being a descendant paternally means to take from the father. So we want to get something. I want to give you all some information about Hitler. I don't know whether it was his mother or his grandmother, worked for a rich Jewish man. There's very hard speculation that she had an affair with this rich Jewish man. Therefore, Hitler has Jewish blood. Now, about 20%, of Germans are Slavic. I don't want y'all to forget that one of Japhet's sons went by the name of Magog. His grandson went by the name of Ashkenaz, and also one of his sons' name was Magog. Now, we're going to get into who the Khazars are in volume 2. So these Jewish people that are calling every time a Negro allegedly says something about him or her being a descendant of David, a descendant of Christ, they want to say that one of us are being anti-Shemitic when we are true descendants from Shem, and they are not from the line of Shem at all. But it even gets deeper than that. Cain, I'm going to just say this again, was not Adam's son. All you got to do is go to the genealogy in Luke. What is it, chapter 3 or chapter 1? Which one is it? Is it Luke chapter 3 or is it chapter 1? All you got to do is go to chapter 3, Luke chapter 3. Cain is not Adam's son. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. I'm going to give y'all a little hint on where I'm going with this. Let's go to Revelations chapter 2, verse 9, where Christ is directly talking to the Ashkenazi Jews, the imposters. He's talking to the descendants of the Khazars. This is a very famous scripture. You don't have to be religious to know this scripture. I know that he's talking to us Israelites, and he says, I know thy works and tribulation. I know what y'all going through, and poverty. See, he's talking to the real Jews. And many of you all want to have false gods. He's talking to the real Jews right here. I know your works, your tribulations, and your poverty. Are the untouchables in poverty right now? Are they in poverty? And he says, but thou art rich. No, we're not rich now. But in the kingdom, we will have everything that we desire. I'm going to have an entire city that I'm going to own at my disposal. and anyone else who is chosen like me. But not all you niggas now. Not all you niggas gonna have a city. That's the word. He says, I know that works and tribulation. So he says works. So you know he's not talking to all you niggas. He says, I know your works, your tribulation, and your poverty. But you aren't rich because kingdom come, I got you. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Now that's a hint. It's a good hint. So y'all see where I'm going with this ultimately. The plot and the plan is thicker than any of you could ever imagine. You have a people who are not even completely, they're not, their DNA is completely different from ours. The Khazars and the Ashkenazi Jews, research it for yourself. They have genetic mutation. Some of them have been born with horns, and some of them have been born with tails. Horns and tails. Research it yourself. Google it. If you want to know why some of these other nations, because Esau is not the beginning spirit. The beginning spirit, there were two families that came out of the Garden of Eden. Two families. Adam and Eve had a third son who was called Seth. Seth was to replace Abel because Cain slew Abel. Two families came out of the garden. Two separate families. Two separate families. And those two separate families were the two separate families inside the stomach of Rebecca. I'll get to that a little later. But those of you who are in the circumcision know what I'm talking about. Don't worry, I'll clarify everything. I have to because I have it all right here. Some of you don't even know who Rebecca is. That's okay. She's significant in this message. But I probably won't get to her to volume 2. So there were Anak pre-flood and after the flood. That's for the circumcision right there. But many of you, I'm going to break it down caveman style for y'all. Don't worry. Caveman style. So To understand Hitler, because Hitler ultimately committed suicide. I wonder why he decided to kill himself. Well, I want us to take a look at some of Hitler's. I'm going to end this in about 10 or 15 minutes, but I'm going to give y'all some good stuff before I end it. I want to look at some of Hitler's so-called religious idea. I want us to take a look into the mind of Hitler. Because many of you thought that Hitler was such a villain, didn't you? Even till this day, who painted Hitler as a villain? The Ashkenazi Jews painted Hitler as a villain. Who painted Gaddafi as a villain? The Ashkenazi Jews and their media painted Gaddafi as a villain. Who painted Saddam Hussein as a villain? Well, maybe Saddam wasn't the greatest person on the planet, but who painted, who that boy that blew up, who allegedly blew up the Twin Towers, but he didn't do it. Who was that boy that they said had something to do with the Twin Towers? Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden used to do business with the first Bush. There's many pictures of them shaking hands. What happened was the United States, the Bush family, now, that old man Bush, George W. Bush is a son of a bitch. And his body, I have reason to believe that his body is the vessel for a demon. Now, I'm telling y'all that. Y'all want me to prove that to y'all. I can do that. I can do that. Okay, I have to show you something. Why don't y'all just go, see, I don't get stuff off YouTube the way y'all think I do. I don't. A lot of my research is my personal research. I go to YouTube to look at certain things. Y'all could do this yourself. Go to YouTube and type in George W. Bush, demon eyes. He'll be talking with President Clinton. If you look closely to his left eye, then zoom in, you can see one of his pupils make a slit, like a cat slit, like a snake, like a snake, like a snake, like a snake, like a snake. Just go on YouTube, just type it in. They might shut it down now, I don't know. Just type it in. I don't know if his son is that deep into it. But the old man Bush was wicked. They did that man Osama. They did him dirty. Osama was a sturdy dude. Osama was carrying the business operations appropriately. But the spiritual wickedness in high places. I told y'all this is a spiritual battle. I keep telling y'all that. Y'all don't want to listen to me. Y'all worried about Balenciaga and Nike. I'm not throwing away my fucking sneakers. I spent hard-earned money on them. I'm going to keep them and I'm going to wear them. You can say whatever you want to say. Now, maybe Christ might want me to one day, because they are satanic symbolism. You see them in the back. That's some of them. But right now, we're not going. That's not important right now. So to understand Hitler is you have to understand his religious ideologies. And you also have to understand the Third Reich, which was a code name and destination for Nazi Germany, which reigned from 1933 to 1945. Now, I'm not an advocate of Kanye West, but you Negroes always jump to guns with no education. That's what I dislike about the majority of my people. You don't educate yourself. And let me tell you something about my women, right? Because a lot of the women here in Philadelphia, they know me and they don't like me. You don't have to talk like you're super smart and like you're smarter than me because you have an insecurity with my intelligence. Just because I'm a man of wisdom don't mean you have to compete with me. Don't try to bang with me and play head games with me. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I hate about a lot of black women. Don't do that. Be humble. Be a woman. That's not your place. You think you know more than me? When you're materialistic and mortal-minded and carnal, and you can't understand spiritual things? So the Third Reich was a code name and a destination for Nazi Germany, which reigned from 1933 to 1945. In Eastern Germany, around 20% of Germans have historic Slavic paternal, meaning of the father, ancestry, as revealed in Y-DNA testing. Similarly, in Germany, around 20% of the foreign surnames are of Slavic origin. Now, you're going to see why I told y'all that. It's something that you have to understand about Japheth, the youngest son of Noah. He was a nomadic people. When Esau was born later, he was a nomadic people. Cain and his descendants were nomadic people. The Ashkenazi Jews, the Khazars, are vagabonds. Do you know what that is? They don't have a home. And I'll explain that. They're in our house. There's really only one house, Israel. And that house doesn't belong to them. They were given territory Let me give y'all something before I leave. Let me give y'all something before I leave. I want to give y'all something before I leave. Let's take a look. And these are from people who were close to Hitler. From people who were close to Hitler. They were close to him. They were his people. They were around him. They were around Hitler all the time. His military people, all of those people. They were around Hitler all the time. Military people, all of those people. Religious views of Adolf Hitler. Wikipedia. The religious beliefs of Adolf Hitler, dictator of Nazi Germany, from 1933 to 1945, have been a matter of debate. His opinions regarding religious matters changed considerably over time. During the beginning of his political life, Hitler publicly expressed favorable opinions towards Christianity. Let me finish. Let me read everything. Hitler publicly, in public, he expressed favorable opinions toward Christianity. Some historians describe his later posture as being anti-Christian. He also criticized atheism. Hitler criticized atheism. I want to say that again to y'all, because it's sad as shit that we got a lot of you Negroes denying your Messiah, following and worshiping false gods and the customs that were created by these Nazis. It's these Nazis that, and when I say Nazis, that's quote unquote, because it gets a little deep. These ancestries created Christmas and created Thanksgiving. And a lot of y'all doing that shit on social media because y'all getting some type of money for it. There gotta be something. I noticed just one guy, like, I'm not even gonna say anybody's name. Y'all just keep on with the wickedness. Okay? And y'all keep on saying it's for the children and for the grandchildren and for, just keep it up, man. Judgment is crisis. So Hitler criticized on multiple occasions. Hitler had a problem with atheism. Atheism is not believing in God. So we know that Adolf Hitler, believed in the God. He believed in the God of the Bible. Now, I'm going to prove that to you. Now, he never mentioned the God of the Bible. And I'm going to tell you why. But let me keep reading. Hitler was born to a practicing Catholic mother. So the lady that worked for the rich Jewish person was his grandmother. And his grandmother had an affair with that rich Jewish person. But Hitler is not Slavic, quote unquote, because only 20% of Germans were Slavic. So Hitler wasn't Slavic. He wasn't like a Russian or somebody of Turkish nature. Hitler knew that the black people here in America and that the black people scattered around the world, Hitler knew our identity. Hitler knew who we were. He knew. Now, fact checkers, you all can look this up. I'll post it too. Hitler said, quote unquote, he was in an interview and Hitler said that the black people in America were the jewels, like jewelry that you wear. The word jewels even comes from Jewry, Jew, because we are the jewels of Christ. Hitler said that America has God's jewels. He was referring to us, Negroes, the Israelites. Fact checkers say that Hitler never said that. Well, I'm going to prove to you that Hitler did say that. F-U-C-K fact checkers. Fact checkers. Or what they call fact somebody, whatever. They're liars. The whole fact checkers, they're really there just to debunk the truth. Hitler did say that. There was no reason to make that up. Don't let fact checkers lie to you. There was no reason to make that up. Now I'm gonna prove to you where Hitler's religious ideology stood. Let me keep reading. Hitler was born to a practicing Catholic mother, Clara Hitler, and was baptized in the Roman Catholic Church. His father was a free thinker and skeptical of the Catholic Church. Now, Hitler's father was a free thinker. And Hitler's father did not like the Catholic Church. Now, some people say that Hitler was Catholic all the way up until he committed suicide. That's false. No, he wasn't. It's even in some literature. But in other literature, Hitler dismissed the Catholic Church. In 1904, he was confirmed at the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Linz, Austria, where the family lived. According to John Willard Tarlin, witnesses indicate that Hitler's confirmation sponsor had to drag the words out of him, almost as though the whole confirmation was repugnant to him. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to the small shit. According to John Willard Tolan, witnesses indicate that Hitler's confirmation sponsor had to drag the words out of him, almost as though the whole confirmation was repugnant to him. Hitler biographer John Tolan offers the opinion that Hitler carried with him its teaching that the Jew was the killer of God. The Jew was the killer of God. Hitler, somewhere at some point, said to his biographer that the Jews, now he wasn't talking about us black people then, because he couldn't say that. He just could not say that. But he was talking about the Ashkenazi, so-called, quote unquote, the Jews, the Jewish community. He said somewhere that they were the killers of God. Why did he say that? Because the untouchables were behind the 400, 500, 600 years of slavery that began in the 1500s, that went, and it was an Arab slave trade, but the Arab slave trade wasn't direct with the Spanish Inquisition, but the Moors, and I'm gonna look more into the Moors. Now I know the Moors were black. I'm gonna look more into who they were though as an actual people. I have reason to believe they were Israelites. The Moors invaded Spain in 711 and they colonized. They taught white people how to wash, all that stuff. So a lot of the Spanish people and the Portugal people were black due to the Spanish Inquisition, when all what happened during the Spanish Inquisition is the whites in the Spanish area, the Spaniards, they just colonized, they took over because black people had such a strong presence in the Spanish and Portugal area at that time. And just like the scripture says that the Pharaoh did when we were slaves in Egypt, how as our numbers grew, they wanted to take us out because our numbers were growing. Well, that is what's been happening to our people over and over and over again. And that was the purpose of slavery, because they were scared of who we were. See, there were people in the past that were of the Caucasians, quote unquote, so you want to call them. They knew who we were, but we didn't know who we were. Even today, you have people that are not of our nation that know our identity better than we know our own identity. You understand me? So, Hitler said that the Jews were the killer of God because we are God. Now, I don't want a lot of you to get misconstrued with that 5% Kemetic complex. You are not Elohim. Don't start acting stupid. That's what a problem with a lot of y'all now. arrogance. That's why he says, ye are gods, but you will die like one of the princes. It's so sad because people always want to read the first verse, but they don't want to follow up with the verse that you're going to die like one of the princes because of your arrogance. Not all of us, but up walking around, not holding ourselves accountable for our wickedness and not having trust in Christ and standing by, being ashamed of Yahushua HaMashiach, we're going to get dealt with for that. We're going to get dealt with for that. That extermination, therefore, could be done without a twinge of conscience, since he was merely acting as the avenging hand of God. This is very important for many of you out there to understand. Hitler, I'm not going to say that he was crazy, but Hitler was certainly different upstairs. I'm not going to say he was crazy, just like y'all say Kanye crazy. Kanye ain't crazy. Some people say I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. It's funny how people think that people like me are crazy. Hitler actually thought that he was the avenging hand of God. That's what he thought. I want to say that again. I want to take a look into the mind of Hitler. Hitler thought that he was the avenging hand of God. Don't you understand that? Not only that, he knew that the blacks in America were the Jews. He knew our identity. Now, I want you to keep those two things in mind. Let's read a little further. Rissman notes that, according to several witnesses who lived with Hitler in a men's home in Vienna, he never again attended Mass or received the sacraments after leaving home at 18 years old. Krieger claims that Hitler abandoned the Catholic Church, abandoned the Catholic Church, abandoned the Catholic Church, while Hitler's last secretary asserted that he was not a member of any church. Otto Strasser stated critically of the dictator. Hitler is an atheist. Hitler is an atheist. Hitler is an atheist. But we know he's not an atheist. For his unsetting sympathy to Rosenberg's paganism. For his unsetting sympathy to Rosenberg's paganism. I'm going to get into that in volume 2. Rosenberger was a so-called Jewish person. We're going to get into that. And Hitler didn't give a FUCK about what he was talking about. Hitler privately assured General Gerhard Engel in 1941 that I am now as before a Catholic and will always remain so. But he wasn't telling the truth. I'm going to prove that to you. In a speech in the early years of his rule, Hitler declared himself not a Catholic, but a German Christian. So Hitler said he's not a Catholic, but he's a German Christian. The German Christians were a Protestant group that supported Nazi ideology. Hitler and the Nazi Party also promoted non-denominational positive Christianity. a movement which rejected most traditional Christian doctrines, such as the divinity of Jesus, as well as Jewish elements such as the Old Testament. In one widely quoted remark, he described Jesus as an Aryan fighter who struggled against the power and pretensions of the corrupt Pharisees and Jewish materialism. Hitler demonstrated a preference for Protestantism, Lutheranism, stating through me he said through him the evangelical Protestant church could become the established church, as in England, has the merit of rising against the Pope and the Catholic Church. So Hitler eventually wanted to rise against the Pope. Hitler didn't want to take over the world. Now, I'm trying to find where Hitler attacked black folks at. I heard that there were some African people in Germany that got persecuted during his reign. I don't know what weight that holds. I have to research more on whether or not Hitler attacked black folk. I really don't think he did, to be honest with you. I know the people that he slaughtered and the people that he killed he knew that he had the blood of those people. And ultimately, toward the end of his reign, he committed suicide. So when Hitler was slaughtering the Ashkenazi Jews, he thought that he was acting as a vengeful hand of God. So listen, I'm gonna go ahead. I know y'all don't want to see my face no longer, right? I'm not gonna be back tomorrow with part 2. But there's some things I want to put in order, and part 2 is going to be even better because there's a lot of hot shit that I never mentioned. I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of speculation and understanding about Hitler. The Zionist Jewish mainstream media makes everybody a villain. Why do you think on the local news they love to show niggas' face on the news? When a nigga shoots somebody or steals something, or they love to show our mugshots. This is the Jewish media. All of the people that run their countries, Gaddafi and people like that who they say were villains and such bad people and all of that, they paint them red. And then they get inside workers, traitors, people of their own people. That's how they do it. That's how they do it with our people. That's how they do it a lot of you wicked ass entertainers. Not all of you, but a lot of you. Are moles and destroying your own people. You think that you're not going to receive justice for that? So, I'm sorry for coming late with this, John. And I just need to do even more research. I want to come back probably Wednesday or something like that and give y'all volume 2. Hopefully I have the time. Shalom, all right?